Hey everyone, this is Tracy with Color Me This. Welcome to the channel and welcome back if you are returning. We are moving on in our daily color, working through the title / this book belongs to pages, which are the first page inside my new coloring books that are colorable. So first I want to show you the set that is on my list today. I should show you my list. I feel like we're making progress. So we are on number 6 now, going through my random order. Caran Luminance. This is the first time that the Luminance has been in a case in many years. I partnered it in this giant case. It's one of my favorites with the flamingos. And it holds 250, I believe, because it has the Pablos. The Luminance is a 100 set. Here they all are. My swatches I did for them many years ago with this giant hole. It's a hole punch for card making. These were smaller, and I trimmed them down, and they just happened to fit inside here very nicely. I am intrigued. I love my disc bound having the sets, these out for making choices, but I do also see the value in just opening up my pencils and having the swatches right there. So this is at least a 220 case. Maybe it's a 224 because look at this side. There are 4 slots free, so that makes sense. This is a 224 slot case, and then on the other side is the Caran Pablos, which also are very old swatches. At least back when I did these, I had the idea of making sure the swatches were on the outer edge. I have some even earlier ones that I swatched the outer edge on one side, but I mimicked the name, the swatch, then the number and the name on this side so that my swatch wasn't on the outside. I have learned. I have come a long way. So these are the Luminance. Here's my swatches. I will move them off aside to the side. Mountain King is what we're going to work in. It has not been touched. That's what the goal is for the fall season, is to get all of my books I have purchased brand new, not used, because I had purchased some used. What I'll do is I only have 2 books left. They actually were bought 2 years ago, but I've never colored in them, and they are new. So those are Hannah Carlson books. And then I'll go back through. I have them with dots. So I'll do another set of dots that tell me the books I have bought used in the last year or so. I'm seeing, like I see a mythographic book up there. I have to see I have a giant book called the Colorama coloring book. I think that might have been, oh, I got that at the Dollar Tree. Yes. So I have some used books that I will get into after I finish all of these pristine new books that I purchased and spent the extra money to buy. So let's now zoom you in a little bit. We will be changing angles because I'm left-handed. It just really bothers me to have, I have this little turtle runner that I really enjoy. And when it's not straight and I have you guys looking, like now it's okay. You're seeing, you know, the jellyfish and the coral sideways. It's not too bad, but when I'm zoomed out and you can see the table and the grain of the table and it's all at a 45-degree angle, it bothers me. So here is our page. It is a belongs to page. So the 2 pages that seem to be the very first colorable page either is the title page or it's a belongs to page. So we have some elements. I have 3 lovely swatches of colors. We have a bunch of earth tones. some very bright tones. I believe that these brighter tones are the last. I had the 72, and then they came out with the additional to make the 100. I'm actually going to say it differently. I believe that these neutrals, this neutral palette, this was the additional colors. So there are some brights that we get to work with, as well as even though I would love to have like 120 or more, I will still take this 100. So those are our colors that we have to work with. And I have these strange Maltese cross looking leaves, a wonderful, frame type image with a dragon, 2 flying birds of some variety with small beaks, and then this larger, maybe a water type bird with a longer big beak and a longer neck. This is R.J. Hampson. Here, the next page has, it does not have, does it not have a title page? It actually does not have a traditional title page. We have some other interesting things about the book. Even this second page about the adventure is a colorable page. I just love that. Even the artworks on the back page of artwork is a small image. So, and I love this crown. Anyhow, so the theme, if that helps us, we are definitely a fantasy story book. So, and then look at this cute little dragon. I did do a flip through of this when I bought it. This little dragon, dragon lit. And this house, that actually is printed, and it just keeps going right off the page. Just very unusual. This is a unique style that R.J. Hampson has. I just really like it. Very whimsical. Even this feather is very whimsical, and the cute little frog. So you can get free images from R.J. Hampson monthly. He does a monthly coloring group on YouTube. He pre-announces the pages he's going to color for the month. I have not actually participated, though I have watched some reruns after the fact, but I have not participated in real time with him as like a group. And you can either buy these packs of just the pages that are going to be colored for the month, or go through your collection of books and see if you have them. You can just then, it's a good way to get to coloring in your R.J. Hampson books. So I am thinking fall because it's fall. And if I'm going to do fall, that means we've got yellow, orange, brown, and green for our leaves. I just grabbed a bright orange because it's staring at me. There are colors. We could go more of the fall palette. We have like russet and yellow ochre if we wanted to not go with bright. And this, the numbers and the letters are so hard to read. I labeled most of mine, not all of them, the ones that I used most often. And then like this color is dark cadmium orange. I don't even know what that says. Dark cadmium orange something. And I didn't even write whatever it says in parentheses that we cannot see. That my eyes just cannot read that. Squishy. But I can read the 533 dark cadmium orange, or we can go with, you know, this fall, more fall toned down palette. There's even terracotta. So I'm going to just make a decision. I like terracotta. Between those three oranges, there's even a burnt ochre. Look at all of the yellow orange in this natural russet. A green name that is so long I don't even know if I can say it. Phthalocyanine. I think that's it. Dark phthalocyanine green. 719. So I have pulled the dark phthalocyanine green, the natural russet. I'm going to need a yellow. Let's see if I can find, I think the yellow ochre is a good one. Here's what I pulled. There was another page. I just needed to flip one more page to get to all of these lovely. So I've pulled these tones. Oh golly, and now we're gonna have to be able to read. 470 is spring green. So I pulled that. The moss green is right next to it in the book and on my sheet. So I grabbed that one. And then here is that yellow ochre I was looking for, number 34. All of these are silver, very difficult to read. And here's another silver one, 065, which is russet. It's kind of a burgundy. And then the two first ones that I picked that are from the newer set, and that is 719 and 44. The green that I can't even see. A very long name, and terracotta. So we are going to go ahead, and these leaves all need to be colored. We'll start in the upper left, farthest away. I will be popping around. I know that for some of you watching me pop around and not like do an entire leaf is challenging, but I definitely feel being more natural and less structured on the whole page ends up with a nicer flow to it than if you were to start in one corner. You might be starting in one corner, things happen, you take breaks, and then by the time you're done, the left part doesn't look like the right part, or the top doesn't look like the bottom, and so forth. So I just grabbed my tea. I need a coaster for it. So that right there was an interruption enough that for me that could cause a difference in when I sit back down to color again. I need to keep my tea away from my book. Hopefully that is safe. Lucky is still sleeping. He has not woke up yet. And I hope I have most of this all. No, I don't. This is a very big page. It is possible. I mean, the elements are small enough that I should possibly be able to finish. But I am not the fastest colorer. I think what I'm going to do is this tone, these three greens will be the branchy tone. Dragon might be gold. Birds might be white. The water bird, perhaps. I will make that white. And the other birds could be colors of some variety. This again is Amazon paper. These pencils are complete overkill, not required at all for this coloring in this book. They are light fast. I could hang this page on the wall, and in theory, the paper would yellow and degrade, but the pencils wouldn't. That is the theory. Let me try to get around here to these last two leaves. I have these little diamonds. I have these little balls. Those might be metallic. That's what I'm thinking now, but who knows what I will end up feeling like. I've just grabbed the next color, which is terracotta. So right off the bat, we're starting to look fall, which is why I'm thinking gold for some of these other elements. I'm thinking even gold for the frame. The birds are in the, and the dragon are in the corners, but we still have the round part of the frame, the square part of the frame, and then these little elements that I could decide are part of the frame, or they could just be open. And we're just gonna see what happens. So the only parts that you can't see is just there's one leaf way up here. Then I think if I scooch down, everything else you can see. Oh, that leaf was missed for the green, but we can fix that. I do like my zooming in, but I almost think it might be more interesting for you to just see me pop around on the page. And if you don't have any of these books, grab whatever pencils you have and whatever title page you would like to get cracking on and say that you have colored a page in the book, whichever book that is to you. These pencils actually go down very nicely on this paper. I want to grab some bright yellow now. So that was more focused. I think I'm going to be using, this is the russet color, which is like a brown red with the yellow. And I think I'm going to start in this bottom corner. And we've already just got some spot greens and orange. I do want to keep things lighter and brighter. And I did that whole thing. So here, that's a surprise. There you go. That's kind of what I'm going for. let's do one that you can actually see. So I am taking this yellow and I'm doing my ovals so that I get some blending going on. These are a very nice blending pencil. They're mostly sharp. I've used them for a variety of projects over the years. So that's looking nice, that corner. I would say that I am doing some smooshing. I know that is more of a very soft, like a Prismacolor technique. I'm really, really liking the yellow and russet. I might even focus on some really vibrant edges like that. I like that look. I'm purposefully seeing if I can color different than me. I did a collage of the, I think I've done 6 of these now, and this is my 7th, including Forest Song, and I noticed they all had a very similar, in the card making, we call it the Tracy look. That looks like a Tracy card. So this, I'm going to have a little goal. I'll say it out loud. I want this to not look like me. Not look like my coloring. Just something different. And let's see how we get along. If you feel like trying your hand at just a different, if you always go super bright, go soft. If you go realistic, do fantasy colors. Do it the opposite, something different than what you would normally do. And don't be in a hurry. There is no hurry. This book is going to be here. It will always be here for us. I can hear the pencils work. These are typically pretty quiet, but this is a fairly rough, thin paper. Those of you who posted your input on my consternation on the previous book that has a black ink. The whole back of the other book's page was black. So I would think I was adding shading, and all it was wetting the black on the other side that would then dry, and then I would lose my shadows that I was putting in. I don't even know if I went back in and put shadows in, come to think of it. So if these are Maltese crosses, they're now fall. So this one is missing the russet, or not the russet, the terracotta. So I just had to add a little terracotta, and I'll put that beside me. And we're just going to move along. I am putting this russet in most cases mostly on the left side of these leaves, just because I'm not really sure if they're metal or if they're really real leaves or not. I have left a little bit of white, and you know, I have this spring green that's actually kind of on the short side. I've evidently used it for a few things. Let's see if I can add, wherever I've filled up the tooth, even though these are really great pencils at layering over, even when you've long used up your tooth, I kind of like to leave a little bit, but I don't think, see, I like that. I didn't think I would want to have highlights, or I could add gel pen highlights at the end. So I'm liking this extra little bit, and these being very colored in, very vibrant, intense. I'm just mushing this in with that really dark green that I can't even name. Let's see if I can find it on the sheet and say it again. Phthalocyanine green. Those are very complete and wonderfully colored. So now I'm holding the spring green in my hand. I have these three, and that's what I'm going in. I have terracotta and that phthalocyanine green almost all the way throughout. It looks like when we get to the top here, I can see on the upper right, I did not get the terracotta down. So I will be playing with filling all three of these. What I like about these pencils is they fill up the tooth. I noticed in the previous book, the two books, I had Castle Arts and I had the Color, with the Color being a very speedy pencil to use. However, I noticed it didn't fill in all the tooth all the way. There weren't a lot of actual images to color in, so I was mostly coloring background colors. And then same thing with the Castle Arts. I had to use white to fill in the tooth, and these, I am definitely not going to need to do that. So the only logic here for my project is this one bright, vibrant russet is on the left, 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 left. And then from there, I'm just kind of being somewhat random. If I feel any areas are too yellow, I can just go in and darken them up. Beautiful pencils. All right, moving on. I think I need this guy. And then the lime, see, I was going to add that right there in the middle where it's white. Oh, that is looking nice and fall-like. I already did an edge, but I don't have any yellow up here. Left a little bit in the middle there for this spring green. So this whole bottom section looks exactly like I want it to. I'm going to now work my way from the bottom left straight up and then across. We'll see how that goes. And there are no leaves in the frame area. They're all around the perimeter. I am just leaving a little bit of space on each, somewhere in the middle for the yellow, or the green, I mean the spring green. I guess technically back here and the end where the leaf would be the youngest should probably be the lighter green. I don't know. But then again, there is no right or wrong here. All right, so now we're moving up. You can see all of these. You watched me color them far away. So now I think I'm going to zoom in for the last chunk. So I'm going to pull this down. I'm not really too afraid of these pencils smearing or anything. If they choose to smear, they will smear. All right, so here's what we've got. I'm even going to zoom in more. We'll start at that one on the left. So I went ahead and I added terracotta. There's plenty of terracotta. There's plenty of the crazy name, phthalocyanine. But this one doesn't have any green, so I'm going to go ahead and there's some green. Now, these have not received their russet shading. Okay, I like that. Now I'm going to come in with the yellow. Leaving in a couple of areas white for the green, the lighter green. All right, let's see. I am using heavy pressure on every color. Because I want that vibrancy, and why not? Okay, those all look great. I'm gonna rotate here a little bit more so you can see. Yeah, I guess we can't get every last one in. See, we've got, oh, actually, there we go. That's all of the rest. and most of them don't have our terracotta. So terracotta's hiding. Here it is. I'm not doing heavy pressure for that dark green and this russet. I'm just scribbling, actually. Very casual scribbles. Okay. Now I'm going to come along with the russet. That other color I just finished was terracotta. Adding some left-sided shading. Just checking to make sure it's in focus and that you can see it. So there we have it without the yellow and the lime green, starting back on the left again. All right, we've got light green starting in the upper left here. Smushing everything all together. I feel the difference when I'm running this over the pulpy part of the paper that does not have any pigment on it. I can feel it kind of grab, and then when I run it in circles to kind of scrumble it to mix it with the other colors, it feels very smooth. Oops, that's me hitting the screen. All right. And that's the last leaf. So now I think my branchy, tendrily branches are going to be just greens. I have the 3 greens. Did not really pick them to be shading greens. Here they all are. I will start with the darkest, which is the, look at the funny name, Phthalocyanine, 719. Then I will go to the 225, which I don't have handy. That is moss green. Luckily, that's an easy one. And then spring green 470 will be like in the middle areas. So I will start at the top now since I'm already here. R.J. Hampson, he likes to put in little like cross hatchings and dots to give you the hints of where shading needs to go, and I love it. Love it. Okay. One little area here. Try to get this top portion finished off. Moving on to spring green now. This could be sharpened, but I didn't bring my sharpener. I don't even have my little tool cup that has all of my fun tools. The transition between this moss green and the spring green is somewhat extreme, so I'm going to help it along by coming back in with just a light bit of this moss. It does make a difference whether it's on the bottom or the top. Yep, I like that better. There is another, that's olive yellow. I'm looking at my light greens if I had a more middling green, but I don't. Moss green, there's grass green, but that's just way too bright. So it might have to be we do a little bit of a softer blend. And then I mush it all in. All right. We actually have a minute, and I can do one more. I would like to be able to have as much of the branches done to work on the frame and the birds next time. All right. So this is moss green. And our spring green. Coming back in with the little bit of the moss. Finishing off with the spring, we have Lucky. He is, let's see if he's going to come over here or if he's just waking up. He is a daytime napping cat. He will wake up for company though. I had some company come over today and he is so social, it's hilarious. He has no qualms about visiting people. All right, so let me back up. I will stand up so we can take a look at what we've got. It looks fantastic. There it is, our fall scene. every last leaf in view. So we will work on the diamonds and the circles. The rest of the leaves, I may, on the branches, I might do those branches on my own time. And then we will probably finish off with a lot of gold. And then the birds and our dragon. Everybody, thanks so much for joining me today. I think I already said at the beginning. See, I always say that at the end. It's just so awkward. Do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment. Consider subscribing. I will see you all on the next one where we will color the other half of this. Everybody take care. I'll see you then.